Hello YouTube, my name is Marie. Today I'm going to do a more of a discussion rather than a review of Lovers Scarlet Heart Ryeo. I asked you guys over on my Instagram if I should do a review of this, or no, it's like too old, it's past its time, don't bother talking about it. Yeah, so 75% of people said yes. I watched this back in December while I was really in the thick of my K-drama slump. I really had no idea what I wanted to watch. Nothing was holding my interest. And then a few commenters have asked me, like, have you watched this? What are your thoughts on it? So it was kind of like in the back of my head. So I thought, why not just put on something you've already seen? So I just threw this on. Oh my goodness, I forgot how good this show was. So a brief synopsis for those who haven't watched it in a while, or those who are gonna watch the spoilery discussion, because some people don't care about spoilers. I'm one of those people. I watch spoiler reviews all the time. This show follows IU's character, who is a modern woman, and she dies, I think, and then wakes up in Joseon period Korea, inhabiting another woman's body. Standard, like, time slip kind of show. And there she gets involved with really 5 princes that she has a relationship with. They become friends, lovers, enemies, all the sorts of good political stuff, and it's really her story of this being like this very naive woman who's got modern sensibilities, and her growth and struggle to survive in palace life. First 10 episodes were perfect in my opinion. I forgot how absolutely stunning this show is. Like, it's really beautiful. Like, the cinematography is doing a lot to, I think, elevate the show as a whole. The cinematography and probably the acting, I think, are the best things about this show. But after the first 10 episodes, there's kind of like a transitionary period, I'd say, to episode 12, maybe 14, where there's a couple of time jumps, characters change quite a bit, relationship dynamics change quite a bit, everything just kind of gets jumbled and moved around, and I don't like time jumps. This is one of those cases where I don't think this show benefited from having the time jump. I think it was really interesting to see the progression of these characters from like point A to point Z, but the actual middle section and like the conclusion I had a real problem with. I lost a lot of interest in the show, and I really just stuck it out because of all of the goodwill that the first 10 episodes built with me. And by the last episode, I was just really unsatisfied with the conclusion. I was unsatisfied with our main relationship being the female lead, and I think it's the 4th prince, like the one that wears the mask. Something happens with their relationships. While our female lead was having that first love with somebody else and like just building kind of more of a friendship with the 4th prince, I really liked their dynamic there so much more. Like, and then all of a sudden it kind of like it jumps somewhere to being friends, her breaking the relationship with her first love, like that's not gonna happen anymore, and then all of a sudden she's actually fallen for the 4th prince. Like, I feel like we didn't see her go from one love to the other. Like, it just kind of happened. I didn't appreciate it. Like, while the first 10 episodes were happening, and I knew, and I remembered because I've already seen this, that she's not gonna end up with her first love. She's gonna end up with the 4th prince. I was like really enjoying it because I'm like, wow, this is such a great foundation for the relationship that's gonna eventually happen. But then it's like they don't build on this great foundation that they have. It's like they built this foundation and then they missed a level, and then they're not even a level. Like, I feel like they missed the entire middle of the building, and then they're just gonna do like the penthouse suite at the top. This metaphor isn't going very well. So like at the very end, at the very last episode, they have that concluding scene that is supposed to be like kind of a band-aid on her wound, because this is a tragedy, right? people die. Like, this was a tragic ending, like, we've come so far and there's been good times, right? So like, that's what that last scene was supposed to be. It was kind of supposed to like leave us on like a happier note to end the series, even though it was a tragedy. And I think that scene is totally misplaced. I think it should have actually been in the correct timeline slot, because that would have really helped. I think like at the end of the series, even though like their relationship, like the female lead and the fourth prince relationship is really strained, I think it would have been so beneficial for the series as a whole to see them being a couple and being in love more, because like I said earlier, I feel like she just kind of switched to all of a sudden seeing him as like a friend and then seeing him as a lover, and he's always kind of been a bit more possessive of her than, in my opinion, truly loving her. So it's just like, I find the main OTP, the last, like the final couple, to just be missing a lot of beats along the way, even though their beginning was really good. Another thing I really loved about this show is how believable all of the characters' motivations are. Like, we've got a really, really big cast, and even the villains, you understand why they're doing what they're doing. Like, a lot of believable character development, and that all stems from a believable motivation. However, with that all being said, I do feel that the show as a whole is kind of missing a point. Like, I don't feel like there was a reason for our female lead to go through all this hardship. Like, she goes through so much like tragedy, and it just, at the end I was like, what was the point of it all? Like, what was the point? Especially if she wasn't gonna end up with the prince. Like, she marries another dude and dies with another guy. I did like that prince. I don't remember which one he is. Is he like the 12th prince? I don't remember. But even though I liked him, I just kind of was left with this unsatisfying feeling of like, what was the point? Like, what lesson did IU really, sorry, not IU, but the female lead, like what did she really learn? I guess what I'm really trying to say is, like, yes, she learned about ambition and consequences of power, but that lesson in itself could be also given to the fourth prince, who does become king. And it's just like, I can't pinpoint exactly what the female lead's character arc was. Like, why? So while I was watching this for the second time, I was actually pretty surprised, because this sort of overarching feeling about the show, about really liking the beginning, finding a bit of like fumbling in the middle, and like being really unsatisfied by the end and just watching it because I wanted to see how it ended, was exactly the same viewing experience as I had the first time. So I'd be really interested to see down below, like, if you guys have seen this, what did you think of the show overall? Was there a part or a section of it that you liked the most? So let's end this spoiler discussion about talking about some of my favorite moments from the show. And these are really little moments, so they might surprise you, because a lot of the times it's the little moments that really stick out to me. So the first one that I wrote down was when she makes the decision not to tell her first love, I think he's the 8th prince, when she doesn't tell him that the king has died, and she actually tells the 4th prince. I thought that, and actually that entire episode, was really well done. I really enjoyed the episode where the king dies, and like, you see her making that decision that no, maybe my first love, the 8th prince, can't be trusted because he used that specific language that the king told her to look out for. I thought that had great intensity. And then I thought the acting between our two leads, like IU and the fourth prince, I can't remember his name, but isn't he the same actor that was in Lawless Lawyer? I might be wrong, I'll have to look it up later, but like, the acting between them in that moment where she tells him, and like, there's a moment in her eyes where she looks at him and she's like, yes, I'm gonna tell him the truth, and like, he recognizes the significance of her telling him the truth. Like, I loved that entire scene, that whole moment. I thought it was really, really good. It was so juicy. Okay, another moment it didn't hit me as hard the second time around because I was expecting it, but the first time when she cuts herself to give herself the scar so she can't be married off to the first king, ooh, like the sound of the vase breaking, and then and then she's got to cut, like, oh, that whole like when I first watched that I was like because it was like taking it into her own hands. Like there's a lot of agency there that I really appreciated, because she found a solution to her problem. It wasn't the greatest solution, but it was a solution, and she took it, and it was her. It was all her, and I loved it. Oh, okay, this part, this is definitely one of my favorite scenes from the show. Both times that I watched this, I thought this was such a powerful scene, where she's like the head of that bathhouse. It's the fourth male prince, and he's trying to find an intruder, and she comes out of her room, and they want to search it, and she like takes her hairpin, and like she's like, no, if you come into my room, like an unmarried like court lady's room, like I won't stand for that embarrassment, and like she threatens to hurt herself again. What is it with like the only agency that she can really have is threatening self-harm? Anyways, like that, the tension between the two I thought just was really, really good. And okay, so overall, what am I gonna rate this show? The show changed a lot for me. So I think we'll be generous and say the first half of it I probably would have given a 4.5 stars, but the ending and like how unsatisfied I feel, and just like how much I just wanted it to end. Like I was so done with it by the end, but I needed to watch to the end because you love the characters and you love the actors associated with the characters. But like the ending just wasn't satisfying. So like the second half of the show I'd probably give a 3-star to, because, you know, the acting's still good, it still looks good. Something I haven't touched on, but the music in general in Moon Lovers Scarlet Heart is really, really good. It's very emotional. So I'm torn of how I would rate this, but a 3.75 to 4 stars. So what I really want to hear from you guys is, how did you feel about the viewing process? Was there a very distinct shift in your enjoyment of it like there is in mine? And again, like I've watched this twice and it was the exact same both times. So I'm really curious to hear what you guys have to say. Have a good night, have a good day, bye.